Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Claude and the Banstas. Thank you for joining us for this late night show. Oh, I don't know what's happening now. Hold up. With myself and Kenny Ken. How you doing, Kenny? Hope you're well.
I'm all good. I'm all good. Like watch a bit of the England game, but you know what it is, right? I think we've been programmed to watch a lot of domestic football. The Premier League. We had the championship playoff. Brentford winning. Congratulations to them. Nice little London derby for me and you. And you've got the Champions League final. Then you have all those sort of drama, you know, and then all of a sudden you go and watch England and you think, oh God, you just can't wait till the tournament starts because England friendly matches or England qualification games really are a bit of a drag.
Yeah. We'll get on to England in a minute. Just want to say, first of all, thank you to everybody, all of our Bansta family. We have made 35k subscribers now on our YouTube channel. So honestly, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Diesel, unfortunately, is working up north today and tomorrow, so he won't be with us. And then I'm up north the weekend, Friday to Sunday. He will be doing a few shows on his own, probably with Kenny. But I just wanted to come on tonight and say thank you from the bottom of my heart, from myself, Diesel, Leanne, and obviously the big man himself. I know that Claude would have been really happy to get to there. Our next goal now is 42k. That when me and Diesel started with Claude, Claude was on 21k, and what we wanted to do, me and Diesel, we wanted to double the subscribers and get to 42k, so then at least me and Diesel could say, right, now, now we're on an even path. Let's take this channel even further. So for me and Diesel and even Claude, and we never thought we'd get there, not even 35k, even though we were talking about 42k, but 42k is our next our target. So please, everyone, help us by sharing, liking, subscribing, getting the word out there. As soon as we advertise anything, please help us get the word out there, and let's try and get there. But like I said, I just want to say thank you very much, and especially to people like Kenny Ken, who's been there from the start with us, even with Claude before us, Lee Gunner, other people like Lee Chappie and Craig from Anfield Agenda, and loads of other people. Too many to mention, but honestly, I just want to thank you all for giving me the light of day to even air my opinions, even though, like I said on Twitter, 99.9% of you don't agree with me, especially the man sitting to my right.
No, I just want to just second that. It was, it's the, obviously, I remember when Claude first started this channel in 2017, and then it's just gone on big. He had a massive following because of the fan cams he's doing with AFTV, and it's just grown and grown and grown. I've always wanted the great man to have faith in himself because he's people will watch and they are still having his opinions. And I also just say as a mate of Claude's as well, it was a really, really good after the situation with AFTV, him not losing his place on there. We all believed it unjustly. And one of the biggest injustices I've ever seen in my life. One thing that kept him going is that he did have something of his own to work with and fall back on. He had a tremendous support, and people backed the great man. And I can only say it was just nice to watch. And as I said before, there's a legacy, and it's there. Something in his name, and that's what's always been the beauty of it. Something that's his name, and it's not in anyone else's name. It's his contents as well, and that will carry on.
No, exactly. Sorry about my green screen. I ain't got my green screen up tonight because as soon as we finish this, I'm got to go to work. I'm working late tonight, so I've got to go to work. So I need to just shut the laptop down and then shoot off to work. So that's why I ain't got my green screen up. But right, let's get into a late night chat. Let's start off with England. England won 1-0. For me, boring game, but the light shining star in that game was Saka getting the goal. Kenny.
Well, you look at the situation as that, Gareth Southgate normally plays like with back three, but 3 and 4 and 3. But today, I did everyone. Gareth Southgate went with a back four and he played Kieran Trippier at left back. And, you know, and so if you looked at the situation, the greatest shining light was that Grealish. The crowd love him. He, got very excited. He tried to draw the Austrians out, and he created a lot of chances, and he was involved in the goal. I think the disappointing thing, obviously, the negative was before the game. It's like, unfortunately, there were audible boos when the players took the knee, which I found really disappointing. But I expected it, and I did mention it to the great man and a lot of people as well. That I just feel that with crowds, that this will be an occurrence now. That people are gonna be doing this. So people just are gonna look at the situations and say, "Oh, it only happens at the FA Cup final involving a certain club, or it only happens in South London." I think, in general, watch this space. I can see a lot of it happen in a lot of games, but that's the negatives because that has to be mentioned because some fans need to show some manners. But in terms of the football as well, one thing that was Saxon's goal, very good goal, backing up. Harry Kane, played like he did with Spurs. He had a chance. He should have, probably should have put away. But the biggest elephant in the room, hi mate, is the injury to Trent Alexander-Arnold because he was told 3 weeks ago that he was going to get into the team in terms of the squad, and then he gets this sort of injury. So it's one of those things where you look at it and you think, whew, we're just waiting for the news of the diagnosis. But if that's the case, then they've got someone on standby. Maybe someone could take your place, or maybe an extra striker be brought on. Because I never agreed with the fact that Gareth Southgate took 4 right backs. I thought that's a bit of cop out, in my opinion.
No, I totally agree with you. I mean, first of all, let me touch on Jack Grealish. That's one player who I've been talking about for the last 3 years. I'd love to see him at Arsenal. He's one of them players for me that gets you excited. You know what I mean? You're excited before you even go to the game to watch a player of his capability because every time he just gets the ball, it feels like he's going to do something with it. Ken, do you know what I mean? He feels like, you're going to get straight on the attack. He's going to get the players around him to help him out and hopefully get them goals for you. Not only that, let's be honest, he's one of them. He's one of them players who's a little bastard. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? He's a little bastard.
I agree with you saying because you look at Jack Grealish's what he's done with England. There's parts of the World Cup when Raheem Sterling was doing it, where he was committing players and getting past players. But I think what Jack Grealish is doing, he's actually doing it from deep, where Raheem Sterling was doing it from in the last third. So there are some options. I ain't gonna lie, Terry. I think the squad is lopsided. I don't like it. I'm still struggling to accept that you've only got 2 recognised goal scorers, recognised strikers, because a lot of people who watch England play and look at the squad, they think, well, Ken, what you're saying now? How comes you're saying you only got 2 strikers? But being able to score the odd goal and capable of scoring is not the same as being a natural goal scorer. So, for instance, he's taking Calvert-Lewin and he's taking Harry Kane. What happens if something happens to Harry Kane? Because he is. Then you only recognised striker. So you're basically relying on Sterling, who hasn't scored a tournament goal for England. Then you're looking at Rashford again. He's had a few injuries to Man United. Doesn't want to play at centre forward. Not a natural goal scorer. Grealish is not a natural goal scorer in my opinion. Foden, wouldn't say that. Then you've got Mason Mount as well. So you've got players who can score goals, but you haven't got a guaranteed goal scorer. So I always say that when you do have a situation like you need 3 natural goal scorers. And I thought Watkins is very unlucky. And I think that Watkins is a victim of 2 things. Perhaps he's a victim of the fact that they take the 4 right backs. And when I look at the general forward line, it's too many same old. Is Saka keeping Watkins out the side? Is Grealish or any of the the Fodens or something? Because I'm looking at it, you can't go in a tournament like that, especially say the group stages. A lot of third match where you may need a goal. Harry Kane may be injured. You only got one person about the last 16, because potential match is going to involve Hungary, Portugal, France, and Germany. We're assuming that because of the way the tournament is based, I think like the best placed third team is going to get into the last 16. So England have got. We're assuming that Hungary are going to come bottom of that group, but you're still going to get Germany, who drew, by the way, to Denmark. You're still going to get Portugal, the holders, and you're still got world champions in France. So if you look at that sort of criteria, that is the money shot. And that's why I worry about the squad. Another thing you've got to worry about the squad as well is like Maguire, injured.
Yeah.
Hasn't kicked the ball since his injury against Villa. He's going. Jordan Henderson hasn't played 90 minutes since his injury in February. So he's taking injured players. Now, Alexandre-Arnold's got a knock. And they get him through that. That's another player. So you're 3 players down in the 26-man squad. And that's my big concern. Another big concern as well is ball retention. I don't see England having a player like Modric, Kroos, players in the Spain team, like Olma as well, who can keep possession and keep the ball. Why do you think England play with a packed midfield? Terry Venables, Euro 96, Christmas tree formation, Glenn Hoddle, wing backs, Gareth Southgate, 3-4-3. It's because they know that they can't play 4-3 because they haven't got the midfielder who can keep the ball. It's blatant. And that's where England will struggle.
For me, Ken, let me come back to that on a second. Just quickly, Glenn, big up Glenn. Anyone who hasn't seen his video about the review of our season, go and give it a watch. Great 5 minutes watching, very funny. And yeah, it's on our channel. So go over and
Hi,
get it. And not only that, there's a lot more to come from Glenn next season. Obviously on our channel, and all we'll be doing a lot more videos. And there's a few things in the pipeline with Glenn too, same as Kenny and everyone else. So everyone, please stay tuned and subscribe and everything. So thank you, Glenn. Thank you very much, mate. Going back to England. For me, Ken, I just can't get excited. I've done it too many times with England now. Do you know what I mean? It's we haven't been the same for me since Terry Venables, 96. When I look back at that, I think the difference was then I think England fans had the coach that we all wanted, if you know what I mean. We all trusted in the coach as England fans. And I think at that time, every single player was probably the best in their positions. And Terry Venables played the best players in that tournament at the right time, if you know what I mean. And since then, for me personally, I don't think managers after him has done that. Now, if you look on the whole for me, sorry, Ken. If you look on the whole for me, sorry, go on, Ken, go on, mate.
No, I'm looking at that, and you got a good point, but it was, he still played the Christmas tree though, which means he packed his midfield because he still didn't have that player who can keep possession. Don't get me wrong, they played really well. They eventually lost to the tournament winners in Germany. But if you look at England's performances, obviously they got far, but you look at the quarterfinal against Spain in 96, Spain had 2 good goals disallowed, and Spain virtually controlled the game because they had more of the ball. And obviously you had the game against Switzerland. So getting to the semi-finals was great, and it encapsulated the British public, and everyone got involved and everything. But, I would have thought that the team that England had in 1990 in Italy had better players and had more world-class players. If you look at the team, Lineker, Barnes, Waddle, Gazza, and so, and Peter Shilton, who was at the time even though he was coming up to 40, he was still one of the best goals in the world. You would have thought that they had a better side. But I think the malaise in English football is always going to be is that England will always do well in the under-21 tournaments, not the under-21s, but in the under-17s and under-20 tournaments. But in terms of when it comes to the under-21s and up to the internationals, that's where the lack of midfielder who can control possession and control the tempo gets found out. we're always going to produce good players coming through, but we're not producing the required midfielder to give England a proper chance of doing well in major tournaments.
Do you know what it was? I was speaking to Flo last night. Flo's in the chat. I hope you're well, Flo.
Hi, Flo.
And he was asking me the question and all of what does he, because I think, you know, well, I think he agreed with what I was saying. And for me, Ken, it was, it's, you know, England, if you look at our squad on a whole, I think we've got the players to go out there and you know, give a good damn hard try of winning this tournament, like we've had for a few years. But I am just not confident in this manager. Now, for me personally, I think I would play the youngsters. I would play Mason Mann. I would play Grealish. I'd play Saka. I'd play Foden.
I actually agree with you, because you've got to look at it this way, though. This is going to be a last hurrah for certain players, because what's happening is that you've got the World Cup next year in Qatar, and it's going to be in November or December. It's going to be a Winter World Cup. So in terms of like every international team, especially the European teams who many believe have got the best chance of winning the tournament, it's this Euro 2020, because of the way it's been situated because of COVID, it's always going to be about, you know, preparation and getting players, younger players, tournament experience in order that they can win the big thing, which is the World Cup next year. So you may find that your wish may come true next November. You know, in terms of like seeing a younger side and seeing, you know, look at it. Players like Saka's going to benefit from tournament football. Foden's going to benefit from tournament football. So is Mount. So you're going to think they're going to be better players in England qualify for Qatar, and that goes for the teams that, you know, the Portuguese. Remember Spain? They left that, Sergio Ramos. So obviously they're thinking about Qatar 2022. So that is the situation. Is that obviously it's a massive tournament. You want to win it, but you know it's all about for the World Cup for me, and it's in terms of like getting your shape, everything. As you all know, I'm happy with the coach, and I like the coach to be dismissed after this tournament.
For me, I was speaking to Flo. If we lose our first match, and then I'd get rid of him then. To be honest, I'd get rid of him then, because I don't think he should be our manager straight away. And I can't understand, right? I can't understand why on earth he is the manager of England in the first place.
It's for simple reasons. Sam Allardyce got basically caught in the act, and with a stink. Sam Allardyce was the one who got the England job, and he was who he desperate. He only got one game, and he had to lose. He lost his job because of what the Daily Mail did to him. But if you look at Gareth Southgate, he was very much the reluctant England manager, because one of the reasons why Gareth Southgate got the job is because of the work he was doing in the under-21s and the youth teams. So he's basically an FA man. I don't know. Obviously, before your time, Ron Greenwood, who got the job above Brian Clough in 1977, an FA man. He's got a job. Bobby Robson, 1980 in 82, an FA man. So FA like to get their own men, and so it's no surprise to me that Gareth Southgate got the job. But you're trusting Gareth Southgate with, and I say this with the greatest respect, you're trusting him with a good group of young players. But these young players know Gareth Southgate because of the fact that he's worked with them at junior levels.
Just before I come to this super chat, for me, right, tonight's game sums up exactly the performance and the way we're going to play in this tournament, because that's the way we're played under Gareth Southgate for me since he's been manager. Do you agree with that, Ken, or do you see something else happening? Do you think he's got something else up his sleeve? Not
really, because the thing about it is that he can have as much as his sleeve, but the way forward for any international team is 4-3-3. He can't play 4-3-3 with that kind of like imbalance in his squad, especially in the midfield we're talking about. If he plays 4-3-3 against France, Spain, Belgium, and Portugal, he's going to get mullered, because they just have an extra man in midfield and muller him. So he's going to have to pack the midfield. But if he had a proper midfielder and someone who could control possession and keep the ball, then he's got a fighting chance of doing well against these teams. You know, English managers are no fools. You know, the only English manager try to play with, you know, like a flat black four was Ericsson, and that didn't work because, you know, that useless man ruined the generation, and he might as well be playing 4-4-2, which is so out of date. But you know, Ericsson was a 4-4-2 manager. But in terms of this, what, you know, Gareth Southgate's how England are going to play under Southgate, well, it's obvious. But I don't entirely blame Southgate until we start producing these players from the younger level and get, you know, all the England teams playing possession-based football. Then we're going to struggle in these tournaments. Yeah,
no, we've got a super chat here from Bert Leno. Thanks, Bert. I hope you're well, mate. He says, who do you think should start a right back, Kenny?
Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker's still got the sufficient pace, and you know he's one of those. He's the only right back, in my opinion, who'll win his individual battles. In terms of like the best defensive right back is actually not even being selected. That's Wan-Bissaka. But Gareth Southgate doesn't believe he's good on the ball. But in his duels for Man United, he never loses his duels. Kyle Walker won't lose his duels. He's still got that explosive pace, not just in terms of like one-on-ones, but when he's out of position, he can still get back in that position and nick the ball. And that's why, for me, he has to. If England play a back four, which I don't think they will, he has to play. Kyle Walker has to be your man. It's not even negotiable because, you know, if you look at the exhibits, the only ones you probably think about. Yeah, Trippier can defend, so yeah, maybe him or Trippier. But you know, someone like Reece James, forget it in a back four. Not a chance, mate. Not a chance. Once he goes walkies, he leaves his back door open all the time, man. He does it a lot for Chelsea. You've seen the games.
Yeah.
So it has to be Walker.
All right, look, I agree. For me personally, if we're gonna, Gareth Southgate for me, if he wants to try and win this thing, what I would do is that I'll play the youngsters from the start. Like I said, I'd give them all the chance for them to go out there, enjoy it, and not a lot of teams will obviously know how to play against them because I think they'd just tear it up. To be honest, the youngsters. And my team talk would be simple, Ken. I'll sit them all down an hour and a half before the game, and I would let them watch the England versus Holland game in the '96 Euros and say, right, there you go, out you go, boys. That's your job. That's all you need to do. That's my team talk, mate.
Yeah, but you think about it, they're probably going to play like that as well because you know they're playing all their games. All their games are going to be in Wembley, except for if England get there, the quarterfinals going to be probably abroad. I think the quarterfinals, if England win their group and they get through all those games, the quarterfinals is going to be in Dublin. So, all intents and purposes, you know, if they go throughout the whole tournament, all the games bar one will be played at Wembley. So they are going to get the further of the crowd behind them, and they would be able to play that. Thanks, Pat. Play that kind of level of play. So in terms of like the way you want to play, you know, get in there, show a bit of passion, and be on the front foot. I don't think a home crowd will let them do it. However, as you all know, I'd rather they play intelligently because, you know, when you get to international football, it doesn't matter who you are, you know, it's a different ball game. You know, you can't play that sort of tempo. It's just not possible, especially when in a summer tournament football, you got to pace yourself. You know, back in the day when we were younger, the Germans was what I call a tournament team because, you know, their attitude was it was like 7 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
7 games. We need 7 games to win a tournament. So they paced themselves. They made use of their squad, and they utilised it better. And they, in terms of how they played, they didn't give, in terms of the tempo they played. You look at the group games, the tempo generally played. You know, sometimes you think that they're not at it. But when it comes to the knockout stages, boom, they're ready. And I think that's every team in this tournament is going to have to pace themselves, and refer to tournament football. Yeah, because 7 games.
No, exactly, mate. Randy Viper, glad to see you in the chat, mate. Hope you're well. He says, congrats, guys. We did it. Woo. Tell you, remember the deal for me and Ricardo made by Diesel? Yes, I do, mate. And as soon as Diesel's back, I will get him to make you and Ricardo mods on our channel. And thank you very much for helping and getting the word out there. We really appreciate it, mate. All right, let's finish off the England talk. Then, Ken, how do you think we're going to do? Where do you think we're going to end up?
I think if they're going to have to hope. If they get France, they won't win. Portugal, they'll struggle. I think the best bet is Germany, but then again, the Germany that lost 6-0 against Spain in the League of Nations may not exist, and then Germans in tournament play. Plus, they still got Toni Kroos to control possession. It's going to be very difficult. It's very difficult for England to get past the last 16. Really, they're going to need a lot of luck, because you know what I mean. But if somehow Hungary get in the last 16, then maybe, just maybe, England could get through to maybe the quarterfinals. I look at Belgium, and Belgium just too good for them. And I've even seen it in the World Cup. Kept possession. England couldn't get the ball of them. France are too strong as well in terms of every position. They're too strong for England. Portugal, it's Ronaldo, it's Fernandes. I can't see England winning it. I really can't.
No.
I like the way that. I'm not just saying it because of the fact that I don't think they got that ball midfielder. It's the way the tournament's been shaped. I look at that last 16 game, and I think that's going to be the litmus test for England. If they can get through the last 16, then anything can happen. But eventually, you are going to meet teams like Belgium and Spain. And I just think England will struggle against those teams.
I totally agree with you. It's so frustrating for me watching England because, like I said, I think we've got a great squad of players. I think we've got the potential there to go and win it. But the last sort of 3-4 managers, I just haven't been. There's just been no confidence in them whatsoever for me, Kenny.
Well, you look at it this way as well, and I say this as well. You look at the squad and the imbalance of it, and the fact that he's taking players who are not fully fit, and he's taking them a reputation, and the fact that he's only got 2 goal scorers, 2 strikers, and you think about those games that we're talking about, where you've got Calvert-Lewin hasn't got the experience, Harry Kane's obviously got the experience, and yet you'd have thought that he would have taken like Ollie Watkins, who, looks a lot fitter to me than Calvert-Lewin does and has pace as well. Strong pace. Explosive running from deep. Don't get me wrong, because, you look at it, you want a bit of variety. Harry Kane's is a top locker. He hasn't got the pace, but he could do the whole lot. You've got Calvert-Lewin who can hold the ball up and is excellent in the air. Surely you had a third striker who can play with his back to goal, but has got real pace. I don't understand why he didn't do that. Where he's got so many players who can unlock the door, but how many of those players do you need, and how many of those players you're going to get? And then the four right backs, it's cop out. It really left me cold, that squad. If you don't think, if you have to make a decision. If you think Cole Walker's past it, then leave him out. If you think Reece James isn't ready for this tournament, but will be ready in the World Cup, then leave him out. Take 3 right backs. I don't get it. Yet you only taken 2 left backs. You've only taken 2 left backs. Sometimes it's all, it's not like when we were playing at Market Road, where everyone, everyone who was a great ball player played. So basically, you could have about 11 players, and about 8 of them were all good on the ball and all skillful. You could get away with that, but not in a tournament like this, where you need a bit of balance to your squad.
Yeah. I agree with this, Flo. England have no excuses not to be one of the favourites and to win the competition. That midfield and front three is dynamite. There's no reason to play counter-attacking football with all that talent. I totally agree. I think
might have to, though. They might have to. They might have
me,
to.
do you know what it is with me, Ken? If I'm being brutally honest, is that, like I said, if you go back to the '96 in the Euros, with that team, every time we got the ball, especially against Holland, Spain, Germany, we was unlucky against Germany, but you look back at all them games. Every time we got the ball, we looked like we was going to score. Because as soon as
the Holland game, yes, not the Spain game. I think the Germany game.
The Spain game was a bit different, if you know what I mean. Because obviously,
you look at the Germany game. England started off really well. They scored in the second minute through Shearer. You know, the corner routine. But there were times when Germany could have said, we talk about Gaza missing that chance. You talk about Anton hitting the post, but let's not forget that Christian Ziege had that little chance in extra time. Remember, they had a goal disallowed from Stefan Kuntz. It could have been a golden goal. Somehow the Hungarian referee decided, found a foul on Stuart Pearce that I didn't see. So it goes in, like in terms of roundabouts, the particular game. We can't, put hand on heart and say that the Germans didn't deserve to win that game either in the semi-final, because they played well. Both teams played really well. It was an excellent game of football.
What I suppose I meant, Ken, is that every game that we played, we wasn't scared. If you know what I mean, we wasn't scared.
But we had the crowd behind us, didn't we? You had 80,000 fans.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I think it oozed down from the fans, from the manager, from the players, and to on that pitch. That's what I mean. Everyone was on board with everything. Everyone was on board with everything. And the difference is now is that we've got a manager at the moment that is just the yes man, who the FA love, who will pick a team of players exactly like Sharif, is that? Sorry if I've pronounced that wrong. Is basically saying here, instead of playing Grealish and Sancho on the wings, our player manager will play Sterling and Rashford.
That's exactly what he's going to do. Well, that's exactly what he's going to do. The reason he's going to do that is because, managers like Southgate go by players they trust. Well, no, they go by players who they feel that served them well. Obviously, if you look at their international records, there's goals in Sterling. Obviously, not in major tournaments, but there's goals in Sterling, and there's goals in with Rashford as well. But in terms of like what's going to get the crowd out of their seat, it's going to be players like Foden and Grealish. But again, you never know what the situation is. I don't think that Rashford's fit enough anyway. So I think that Rashford might come on the bench and, Grealish is doing enough to get those goals. But remember, Grealish ain't that fit either. Remember, he's only just recently come over an injury. So again, it's a typical disease from English coaches. And I won't call it a disease because that's just too strong. Why is it that, they either get, rotten luck with injuries before tournaments, or they just take players on reputation rather than take the fit players? I don't see any other country doing that. With like England do. Like in terms of France, they're not going to do it. If you're not fit, you don't play. But then again, I suppose Deschamps has got a luxury of talent, and when you look at France's squad, it's not a case of who got in, who didn't get in. Maybe that's the same with Spain and other squads, but in England, no one's really, chucking the TV out of the window about Watkins not getting inside. But I think he should be there because of the, lack of what I think the goal scoring, goal scorers, natural goal scorers, and in strikers.
Ken, the simple answer to that is we don't need 4 right backs.
Oh, Terry, you didn't read Terry. So he's gone for you, isn't he?
Zane's back. He's back in again for the second stream in a row. Hope you're well, Zane. Thank you for coming back over. Really appreciate it, mate. He's put Terry. Arteta is a yes man, like Manuel from 40 Towers. Conte and Sedan are free. How can you have Arteta over them? We'll come on to that in a minute.
Save that to the end. At the end.
Yeah. Exactly. We're just going to finish off the England debate, and then we'll come on to that in a minute, mate. What was we saying, Ken? Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I've been moaning
The
the
simple
fact
answer
that,
to that is why has he took 4 right backs and left out another striker? I don't understand it.
well, yeah, the thing is, Terry, again, it's about accommodation. You know, he's accommodation. You know, he's looked at it and said, well, they've all had good seasons, so I've got to take them all. But you know, and then I've got to take Rashford because he's done well for me in a tournament. He's played tournament football at Euro 2016 and the World Cup. He had a reasonable World Cup, and you know he's scored a lot of goals for England. And I think in terms of psychologically, he thinks, right, I know that if Harry Kane gets injured, the person who can get me goals and who's done it for me when Harry Kane hasn't played has been invariably Rashford. And if you look at the qualifiers, Rashford has come in with his fair share of goals, and so is Raheem Sterling as well. So I can understand the method in probably the madness. You know what I mean? Well, Leanne.
No. Good night, Leanne. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoy where you are. Thank you very much, and speak to you tomorrow. Right, let's move on from England. Let's get on to obviously the big news today. Apparently, Tottenham are in talks with Conte to become their next manager.
Yes.
You know, it's is it all paper talk again? We don't know, but Kenny, let's get your thoughts first, mate.
Well, first and foremost, Conte obviously left his job with Internazionale because the Inter's Chinese owners, in all intents and purposes, have run out of money. So they've asked Conte to reduce the wage bill, and you know how he's going to have to sell players. Which Conte said, "No way, I'm not having that." Because Conte's ambition is, I got to the Europa League final last year, won the Scudetto. Now I want to retain the Scudetto and win the Champions League. So you can imagine he's there, and so he's available. And then you look at the situation. Well, last week we were talking about Pochettino. Well, it seems like PSG want to keep the Poch, and because Poch is very popular with the players, and they want to sort of give him more money. But the Poch wants more control over affairs because he doesn't seem to be able to work with Leonardo, who's the sporting director at PSG. So it's one of those things where it is plausible. Top manager. Spurs obviously clearly need a manager because they got rid of Jose Mourinho, and Mason was always going to be a stopgap. He's not ready for management. He may have ambitions to manage even now, but I don't think that'd be at Tottenham Hotspur, especially the job's just too big for him. So, they're going to look at Conte, good pedigree, won the Scudetto, won, trophies with Juventus, did a good job in Euro 2016 with Italy, and he's won the FA Cup and the Premiership with Chelsea. So obviously, Spurs are thinking big because they've got no choice but to think big because they've got that 62,000 stadium, and, it has to be filled with Champions League football. Has to be. You can't go to Champions League and then, eating steak, and then all of a sudden you're eating hamburgers with the Europa League or the conference now. So it's an understandable reason for them to go for Conte. He's available, but I know Arsenal fans are thinking, what the? And I get what they're thinking that because we finished 8th this season, and they're looking at Spurs and they're thinking, well, they're a bit ambitious. They're a bit ambitious, aren't they? What? Surely, if Conte's available, we should be going for him. So yeah, I can understand those discussions and those thoughts.
All right, for me, I agree with a couple of people that I've seen in there. James Dunlop, he's saying like Conte won't get on with Levy. He's got a very strong opinions, Conte. If Mourinho had strong opinions, I think Conte's got even more. I think they will clash, and I don't think that will be a match made in heaven. So I really don't see that happening. And second of all, I kept getting told that Tottenham are very ambitious 18 months ago, same as Everton were very ambitious because they went out and got them experienced managers that were supposed to get them in the Champions League. that was supposed to get them, you know what I mean, get them into the up the table and do special things with them, because obviously they're elite managers. They've won things everywhere. So what I can't understand is why are now everyone jumping on the bandwagon now again, when they've already done this, they've already done that, they've already gone out and got these experienced managers, and it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked.
Terry, Spurs finished above us in the last couple of years.
By a point. But
the season before that, even though we won the FA Cup, they finished comfortably above us. So they got into Europa League, and they finished comfortably above us, and they finished above us again. All right, that's not real success that Spurs are looking for. But in league terms, they've had better seasons than us twice. So you've got to take the Spurs angle, and let's talk about the Everton one, which is the one that's the big bugbear of you, is the fact that Ancelotti is being wanted by a lot of fans, and that Ancelotti hasn't stayed at Everton too long, and he's told Everton that he wants to leave to go back to Real Madrid. So I think that's bigger discussion. But the fact that because Conte's is available and Spurs are talking to him, that's part of the angle, because I've seen a lot of not you, but I've seen a lot of people who are thinking, right, let's bash everyone. Whoever, basically, I'm not saying you're dead. There's a lot of people who the first line of attack is a lot of ARTETA wasn't many person's first choice. He was yours, but many people's first choice. You know, a lot of people saying, well, we don't think he's experienced. We're not, and his experience is showing. So we want bigger name managers. So whenever a bigger name manager doesn't do well at a football club, that's a stick to beat people who want an Arteta out. But it doesn't change the fact that Arsenal still need an experienced man, and they still need a revolutionary process to get themselves up the table. The reason why it's even more urgent, and it's not evolutionary like you want, two things, Terry. You love to talk about how Arteta has got rid of a lot of dead wood and got rid of people who a lot of people, right? Who we didn't want. Well, I'm sorry, a manager's job is to win football matches, and it's to get a revolutionary process to challenge. It's not something to celebrate. Managers all over the world will get rid of players. That's not their, but their ultimate job is to win football matches. And I think Arteta gets a lot of praise for that. Also, he gets a lot of understanding because of the COVID thing. He hasn't had a pre-season. Well, no football teams had a pre-season. No British Premiership teams had a pre-season. And if you look at it, British teams, in terms of the Champions League, Europa League, actually did better than their cousins in Europe because they did have a pre-season, because they managed to play at the same tempo and continue that from Project Restart, which is last June. You could argue that, whilst our cousins from Europe struggled from not having a pre-season because they're not playing that high tempo that we play in the league. They were outran by English clubs. I could argue that.
Well, look, I'm just confused a little bit because obviously Levy himself come out and said that they have hired the second best manager in the world, basically, and that was Mourinho.
Yes.
Obviously, it didn't go well. He didn't do the right thing. They've sacked him. So I'm assuming now that they've gone out to get the world's number one in the world, then, which is Conte. Is that what you're saying?
And you got a great point. You got one of the best points ever. But a lot of people who are Arsenal fans are going to counter that and say, well, how many top managers have been iced by Chelsea? It seems that you get sacked at Chelsea if one you don't win the Champions League, or you struggle to get in the Champions League, or you don't retain the league. Now, Ancelotti was sacked by Chelsea. Yeah, he did it. Lampard, who everyone credited for getting the top four without a transfer window, still got the sack because when Chelsea did save the money from the transfer embargo, and they did spend money on players, probably who, let's face it, Lampard probably didn't want these players, he still got fired. So, good managers in modern football are going to get sacked because guess what? When you get millionaire, billionaire owners who basically don't know nothing about football, all they know is about that is football's a result business, or they think that, you know, we can do what we like and we want to move on. That's what happens. You know, some clubs get rid of managers because managers don't want to be involved in a direction of football. Or some managers, you know, like Brentford, they use this sort of mathematical formula that was successful in Denmark, and the chairman, and they're using it in order to buy players, in order to project the results. Now, you know, Mark Warburton at Brentford wouldn't work with the Brentford chairman. He had to get sacked because he wouldn't come on board. So there's loads of reasons why top managers are going to get the sack. Maybe not for footballing reasons, could be for other reasons. So, you know, it's easy to say that, but in terms of what Mourinho did, it was quite extraordinary. It was a coincidence that he got iced after Spurs announced their involvement with the ESL. Could be that, or it could be because you say there was player power, but Harry Kane, Song, and all the top players at Spurs, like Lloris, the leaders, loved him. Yeah. So it could be other reasons.
Just before we carry on with this chat quickly, Zane, thank you again for your super chat. He put, Kenny, would you take Nuno? Would you take Nuno?
Well, the thing about it is that, of course, you take it. But the trouble is that as much as I'll say that everything's hypothetical because the boards have made clearly feel they haven't got a decision to make with Arteta. But really and truly, you know, I say it many times, and you don't agree with me, and I respect that. There's an open goal here. The urgency in order to take a revolutionary approach to our season is there. It's even more urgent because the fact is we didn't get to the Europa League final. The team that beat us won it, and then the teams. I was watching a game on YouTube, and it was in the 83-84 season involving Chelsea and Man City. Guess which division they were in? Guess. Guess. No, it's the second division, which is now the Championship. We saw the game 38 years ago. Well, who's in the Champions League final? So I'm not saying it's because of that, but they're doing something right that we're doing wrong. Because they can't just be their money, because we spend money. There's got to be something they're doing off the field, and the people they're hiring, because hiring and why they're pulling away from us. You know, people are Arsenal fans are arguing amongst themselves about whether Chelsea are bigger than us, whether they're the biggest club in London or a bigger club than us in general, the third biggest club now. You know, we shouldn't be having that discussion. But the reason why we're having that discussion is because of neglect. Neglectful, and what's that word they use? You know, standing still, and like I said, taking off the ball. You know, I'll come back to work. My mind's gone blank. Complacent. Complacent. We were complacent after 1971 when we did the double, celebrated too long. It took for George Graham to wake us up. We haven't won since the Invincibles. We've been complacent again. All we hear from Arsenal fans is, rather than be outraged and worried about our future, oh, I'm glad Liverpool lost last season because they're not. Our one's gold and your one isn't. Man City, 100 points, our one's gold. Man City the season afterwards, 98 points, our one's gold. Liverpool win the league, playing grateful, our one's gold. And then Chelsea win all these trophies. Well, we've won more titles than you. We're looking at the past. Let's move forward and let's start winning. I don't agree with your evolutionary process. I want a revolutionary process, which means we're going to fall out because I want Arteta to be dismissed and I want a big name. Now, I'm not going to say it's guaranteed, but it will give me more hope that we can get somewhere quickly. I've run out of patience with the whole situation.
But I suppose if you look at it on the other side, the only thing I would say is that what happens if what has happened at Tottenham and Everton, we've done that, we've get these big managers in, and yet we end up in 10th place.
It can happen. Look at Wolves.
It can happen. That's right. It can happen.
All right. I've got an example for you. Let's move away from the current side. Let's look at Wolves. So Jack Hayward Bahamas, Wolverhampton fans, millionaire, safe-made man. Obviously, not the billionaire, but if you look at it, he's equivalent of, say, a Jack Walker, all right? He spent a truckload of money trying to get Wolves into what was then the Premiership. Didn't work out. But it was still the right way, because Jack Walker, God bless his soul, both dead, Sir Jack Hayward, both dead. Jack Walker, lived in Jersey, Blackburn, Maine. Look what happened. He spent the money, and guess what? He invested, and they won the Premiership. Got players like Alan Shearer, Chris Sutton, Kenny Dalglish as manager, Graham Rousseau, Colin Hendry, Tim Flowers. Got a really excellent team. It didn't work for Jack Hayward, but it's worked for him. There's no blueprint to get it work, but I still can't see any other way. But in terms of like accelerating the process and going through a revolutionary process of success, you're still going to want a big name manager. It's always been the way, because it's the way that 80% of the time it's worked. No one says it's foolproof, but the manager we have at the moment has finished eighth twice. Yes, he's won the FA Cup, and that was supposed to give his time. But that FA Cup win that didn't evolve into something successful.
But the only thing I can say to that is, and what I've been hearing from a lot of people away from social media, like I keep saying, is that Arsenal was a dead club 2 years ago. It was a dead club 2 years ago.
Was it?
Everyone wanted a reset. Everyone wanted a reset because of the way that the club was being run, the way that the manager was, the way that the players, not just because of Emery, but because of the way that Wenger took it in the last sort of 8 years.
Yeah, definitely.
We've gone from, let's be honest, the undefeated side to players now that are international captains, and we can't even get 20 million for them.
You know why fans want that, Terry? You know why fans want that, Terry? Because you compare, and I say this with great respect, because I love Arsenal with all my bones, but I tell the truth. How dare Arsenal fans compare Wenger to Ferguson and actually call Wenger better? Are you having a fucking laugh? Sorry, my language. Yeah, and the reason why I say that is that Ferguson teams, just like he did, after
you're a bit fuzzy, Ken.
You're back. Yeah, all right. Arsene Wenger only built one team. When we won the double in '98, he built another team. But after that, he didn't build any teams. In fact, he lived off it, and then he used the excuse, "Well, I was just keeping him in the top four. That was a hard job." No, it wasn't a hard job, mate. The top four was a close shot, which Arsenal was part of. This myth and this lie that's been perpetuated by, excuse my French, by complete and utter wazzocks.
Yeah.
Who have, with big accounts on social media, who use words like Wenger slander. Yeah. Wenger slander, where it seems like our revolutionary process and our ascension into trying to be a top side rather than living off the past, they actually think that living off the past and is a more suitable solution and the outcome. Oh, Wenger slander. Well, it's not Wenger slander. Who's the bigger thing? The club or Wenger?
Yeah. No, exactly.
But for some of these wazzocks who will go on the fan cams and work with the fan cams and who have big accounts, or go on Talk Sport and say that they're disgusted with Arsenal fans and that we deserve everything we get with the way we treated Arsene Wenger. I could say to them, I only got one word for them, and it begins with W. Wazzocks.
Yeah.
Who don't put their club first.
Well, no, listen, I've got to agree with you there, mate, because like you're totally right. And even when he come in first of all as a manager and we won the double, don't forget he inherited a back five. He inherited that. Dixon, Winterburn, Adams, Bold, Keown, Seaman in goal. You know what I mean? They was all still there when he come. So
Zane's got another super chat.
Thank you, Shane. He said, Kenny, would you take Raheem Sterling? And do you think Sancho is overpriced because he's English?
See, that's a funny story about it. Is that first thing is why would Sterling cut to Arsenal, where he's just played the Champions League final? Why would he come? Apart from the fact that he's on for sale list, I'm sure Raheem Sterling would go to. If he doesn't go to any club in England, he'll probably go abroad to somewhere like Real Madrid, which is capable of playing in, or go to someone like a big club. He's that level player. He's in his prime. You know what I mean? So why would you do it? But it's a funny thing, right? It's funny how we're talking about Raheem Sterling. Like 6 years ago, you had people talking about or raising the issue of Theo Walcott signed a tink, and that Theo Walcott was a superior player to Raheem Sterling. Can you believe that? Theo Walcott is a superior player to Raheem Sterling. Are you having a laugh? Sorry. And you had people who used to subscribe to the fan cams coming out with that sort of rubbish. And even now, people still try to convince me that Theo Walcott was a top player for Arsenal. Well, I say that the stats were very kind to Theo, and that in fact Theo actually overachieved by actually playing for Arsenal because he was effective, but top class. Do me a favour. He's playing in a good team that was on the front foot all the time. Not just diminishing what Theo done, because Theo is a credit to his profession. But in terms of the player we needed over the last few years, Theo probably wasn't what we needed, but he was effective. But top class, I beg to differ.
I've got to agree with you again. I don't know what's happening tonight, but we're agreeing quite a lot tonight, Kenny. And it's not like us two, but no, I agree with you again about Theo Walcott. I agree with you about Theo Walcott. I think, to be honest, he was another one of them that was injured quite a lot of the time and all. Yeah. He was very injury prone. Very injury prone. Every time he come back, he just got into the swinner fins again, and you think to yourself, yeah, he's going to kick on now. He'll get injured again.
Would you take offence if I was to say that the reason why Theo Walcott gets a lot of kudos is because he's an Englishman at Arsenal, where we have very few Englishmen at the club? Would that be churlish to say that?
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is, mate. You can say what you want. And I agree with you to about it, to be honest. And I don't know.
I just thought Carlo Ancelotti, Everton fans, look away now. Carlo Ancelotti is actually at Real Madrid doing his press conference to say he's very happy to be here. As much as I admire Ancelotti, I think that was a dark move. Dark, mate. That's really dark.
But just before we come on to Ancelotti quickly for 5 minutes before I've got to go, because obviously I've got to go to work in a minute, Ken. King Tony, thank you very much for your super chat. He's put, Tell, would you take Southgate as manager as he reads from the same managerial handbook as your favourite fraud manager?
That's your question, mate. I'm not getting involved in that. I can't help you out, Tell.
I agree with that. I've never liked Southgate, to be honest. From the very first moment he came into management, never liked him. But, hopefully my manager, he might be a fraud, but hopefully come next season, a couple of months in, he might start turning people's thoughts around. You never know. But like I said,
the thing is, the ambition for every football fan is that I was as one bloke, I look at it this way, right? You remember Sir Alex Ferguson when he was at Man United in 1990 when he was struggling? It was like, big leaflets, Terrell Fergie. Well, they went from Terrell Fergie to Sir Alex, and naming their firstborn after him. So, every Arsenal fan who puts the club first will want Arteta to be successful because it means we're where we should be. But as someone who's seen how he goes on, not say he can't see how he manages and how he builds his squad. I am not convinced he's the right man, but he's a man in possession. You have to say that.
The Dugout Football Channel. Thank you very much, Doug, for sending us a super chat, and congratulations on your 35k. Hope you are good. Everyone, please go over and subscribe to Doug's channel on YouTube. Same as Warren Warren's fantastic. They've got some great content on there. Please go over and give them a follow. Zane's come in again, said Walcott was better than Rashford. Rashford's so overrated. Lukaku was better than Rashford. I agree with that, to be honest, Zane. I think Rashford is very overrated as a footballer.
I think the expectations for Rashford are the same with Walcott. Walcott got, was because of Walcott, the fact we bought him for Southampton and training United and put him in the England squad. Rashford, first 2 games in top class football, scored a couple of braces. One against the Farmers team from Norway, and the second brace was against us. He made, what a start.
Yeah,
can't decide. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think again, it's just because he's English that he's probably overrated.
And therein lies the problem why English players rarely get bought by a certain manager because of the cost.
Yeah,
because obviously certain players, say Terry, if you have a son and he wants to play football and your son qualifies for the Republic of Ireland as well as England, his agent will tell him to go and play for England because in terms of like merchandise, sponsorship and, future transfer fees, he'll make more money in signing on fees if he's an England international rather than someone who plays for the Republic of Ireland. Yeah. That's factual. I'm not saying that Grealish and Rice did the same, defected to England, but you can't really say it was a bad decision because they're actually starting for the national side and they're actually good enough to play for England anyway. But they would be, Grealish, with all due respect, and Rice, and with all due respect, were in the Irish system for very young ages.
Yeah. Arsenal Maniac. Let's go on to Ancelotti quickly. Terry, after seeing what Ancelotti did, I'm happy we didn't appoint him. I don't want that kind of character here. Just before I come on to that, Talk MU. Terry, check your DMs on Twitter, mate, regarding Banner. I will do, mate. Thank you very much, and I will get back to you, yeah? Getting back to Ancelotti. Look, if me personally, I'm going to be real, like I always am. If I was an Everton fan right at this moment, I'll be fucking angry.
I don't blame him.
I'll be angry. Now, all we keep getting told, that's what I'm saying. All I keep getting told, we need to get this experienced manager in to do this, to help us out, and blah, blah, blah. Well, if we got Ancelotti in and this come up, we would have been left behind there like you are, unfortunately, with a new manager coming in, have to pick up the pieces and then start that process all over again. Now, the reason why I say a process is because Everton are the same as Arsenal, same as Tottenham, same as Aston Villa, same as West Ham. They're not in the category of Chelsea or Man City, right? Why is that? Because, like I keep saying, Manchester City and Chelsea have got owners that will go out and spend on every single manager with whichever the manager wants to spend it on and what players. Not only that, their foundations are absolutely solid, absolutely brilliant. They've got the youth in check. They've got a C team. They've got a B team. They've got an A team for this manager to come in and just sort of think, do you know what? There's hardly anything for me to do here. All I really need to do is go and get 2 or 3 of the jigsaw puzzles that I need, who I can trust, who I want in my team to go with this team already, and then they're firing on all cylinders, right? For a team like us, Everton, Tottenham, you know what I mean? This is what I'm saying. Even with Arteta, them foundations was gone to shot. We didn't have that. We did not have that. We had players at the end of their contracts and going on a free. We had young players leaving our club because we wasn't signing them up. We did, our youth ain't that great like Chelsea. It used to be at one time. We used to be the best at that. But now, obviously, Chelsea and Man City have took over us. This is what the problem is this is why I keep saying on. I did not want a manager to come in and then probably, hopefully, if he was an experienced manager, maybe get us in the top 4 or maybe win us the league and then fucks off to Real Madrid or Barcelona, which obviously I understand why, because they're we're looking at it on a whole, like I was saying to you earlier on, Kenny, right? Ancelotti, What should I do? Let's think about this, right? What should I do? Should I see at Everton where there's going to be a process where possibly I'm only really going to be challenging for top 4 and getting in the Champions League and have to work my fucking ass off every single day for my money, right? Or do I go to a club in Spain that are guaranteed top 3 without even fighting for anything, being in the Champions League and having the money that I want to go out and get the players that I want so I can just, not even do anything? It's obvious what's going to happen. It's obvious what's going to happen. He's going to leave Everton.
You made some good points, but you've got to realise, right, managers like Sir Alex, David Moyes for the time he was at Everton, and of course Arsene are throwbacks. Invariably, we're at football nowadays, especially with the expectations of the fact that we've got billionaires who we've invited into the game, is a dog eat world. If a manager's loyal, he gets cast aside. So a manager is going to look at the situation. With all due respect of Everton, I think what he did was very callous, wrong, but in all intents and purposes, that's an opportunity for another manager. That could be an opportunity for Nuno Espirito Santo or David Moyes, who's let's face it, still got his ass in Preston. He might want to. That's a vacancy. David Moyes can now do it to West Ham. What Everton fans feel like Ancelotti done to him. So it's one of those things where it's a whole situation. So it's there's no loyalty in football. No loyalty. The only loyalty, if you're a manager, an owner, or a player, and you want loyalty, go and get a dog. Fans, because the fans are the ones loyal. They are going to be loyal. They may look disloyal because they're not backing the manager that everyone thinks they should be backing. They may sound disloyal because they stopped going because they're just fed up with watching crap football. But all intents and purposes, they love the club. Mm-hmm. They're the only ones going to be loyal. And, football fans need to get with the programme. It's very commendable to want that. And I'm not saying that they're wrong for thinking that, but unfortunately, that's what happens when first and foremost 5 clubs create the Premier League and stick 2 fingers up to the Football League who they've destroyed. And then because you want to make more money, you get billionaires owners involved because you want the best players in the world and you want them to fund that or find a way to fund it. So it's one of the things, you get in a bed with the devil, then I'm sorry, you're gonna get track marks all over your body. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, no, look, it's the same thing. If I'm a Tottenham fan now, I know that there's a lot of Arsenal fans that want him, but Conte, if he comes to Tottenham, are you 100% sure that he's going to stay there in enough time to get you where you need to
Tottenham
be?
Fans don't care. They want a trophy. Tottenham fans don't care. You've got to realise right now, you have to accept the fact that every fan's going to have the same sort of information. But when you see other teams, especially close to home, doing well and winning trophies, the urgency to improve is always going to be there. And fans are very well-meaning at first when they talk about evolutionary process, i.e. the process. But then again, they're thinking, well, we finished 8th. No, that's not good enough. At West Ham have finished 6th. They're in Europe. We're not. Nah, I'm not having that. Or Chelsea. Oh, bloody hell. 30, 40 years ago, they weren't even in the top division. They won the Champions League. And they played, no, we're not having that. And that's the thing. The site, unfortunately, it's not the times of Donald in 85, 84 up until 86 where, we knew we were going to finish 7th and we just had a good time with our mates. And we had these great away trips and everything and great games against Spurs. We won the odd game here and there. It's all about winning. It's a results business, Tell. And that's the thing. I've bought into that because I'm long in the tooth and I want more. Because I think the club's capable of getting more if they do the right things in terms of, getting the right people on board. You mentioned the fact that Chelsea and Man City have got the best academies. Well, we should be. Let's emulate them, find out what they're doing right and what we're doing wrong. you've got to go now. So I'm going to have to leave you because I know you're looking around and say you can't wait to get you home, get you to work.
Just quickly before we go, Kenny, there's 2 super chats. Zane saying, Terry, will you get Harrison Ford on the show? I heard he's likes Arsenal when he's filming a new Indiana Jones film in England. Zane, if you keep giving me these super chats, and I hope you do, mate, I'll be able to go out and afford to get him on this show, so it won't be a problem. So thank you very much, mate, but I appreciate that. And Flo, thank you very much, mate. He said, loyalty doesn't pay the bills. Terry Barso offered the job to MA. Is he going to take it, or is he stick at the Arsenal process? Be honest with yourself. Listen, at the moment, I don't know. Don't know that. He might want to stick with the process and build his name up first. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. That's what I would hope so anyway. You know what I mean? I would hope he'd want to...
So basically, if people like me wanting to get the sack, he's really going to stick with the process. Come on. Come and tell.
Well, you never know. You never know, Ken. Listen, mate, I don't know if you're available again this time tomorrow. If you are, we can go again.
I don't know. We'll play it by ear. We'll play it by
let me know tomorrow.
You know? But you have to woo me. Woo me.
I will try and woo you tomorrow. So look out, everyone, again, for the notifications. Just keep your notifications on, and hopefully we'll be back tomorrow. Like I said, again, I just want to say thank you very much to everyone that's been in the chat tonight. Really appreciate it. And thank you for getting us to 35K. Now is the real hard work. I'm not going anywhere. Diesel's not going anywhere. Kenny's not going anywhere. Glenn, Lee, and all them ain't going anywhere. We're going to push on and get to that 42K. So thank you very much for helping us out doing that. Like I said, Diesel won't be back until Friday. He says he's got work. But me personally, I think Diesel's OnlyFans page is going to be up and running again soon. So he's off doing a Canada shoot for next season. I think he's getting all the gear on. So all you ladies out there, you'll be loving that. So hopefully he'll be back on Friday. And like I said, I'm off Friday to Sunday. But I will be back tomorrow at this time, even if Kenny can't do it. So, yeah, thanks for a lot. Speak to you soon. All stay safe. Kenny, thanks for coming on, mate. Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Speak to you later on. Stay safe.
See ya.